Happy Saturday, October 25th, 2025. Also, apparently it's Sourest Day, so if your mesh has leaks, your mood has a theme. This is KoiCast, I'm Hunter.
And I'm Riley. Sour gummies in one hand, coffee in the other. Quick note. Today's episode is fully AI voiced. We're stress testing Microsoft Vibe Voice 7B to clone our tones. If it glitches and I sound like a lemon with Wi-Fi, we're leaving it in.
We keep the weird. Alright, today's story. ByteDance dropped Seed3D 1.0, and the pitch is spicy single photo in, simulation-ready 3D asset out. Not just a pretty mesh, but watertight geometry, UVs, and PBR materials that behave in physics engines. Translation, image to usable 3D.
Yeah, usable is the word. The demo clips show sub-minute runs depending on the object. And it's API first through ByteDance's cloud. So this isn't download the repo and pray. It's hit the endpoint and batch.
Not open weights, to be clear. Hosted service, public demo at seed3d.dev, and APIs for pipelines. From a workflow angle, that's the lane most teams want anyway, no GPUs, just budget for API calls.
Okay, but who needs this right now? I'm thinking e-commerce teams with a graveyard of product photos. One hero image becomes a 3D viewer on the PDP, turntable videos for socials, and a little AR try-on moment. And gaming nerds, block out props from mood boards and move faster.
Robotics folks too, Seed3D's whole watertight and scale-consistent thing screams synthetic data. Build bigger training worlds, then spawn variants, new colors, textures, slight geometry nudges, without bothering an artist every time.
Wait, quick compare. Dream Fusion from Google is text to 3D vibes land. Beautiful research, but you still wrestle with near-refs and mesh extraction. ShapE from OpenAI is open source and flexible, but you're rolling your own service layer. Luma is killer for multi-view phone captures, but not single image. Seed3D is like, give me one RGB, I'll ship a production-friendly GLTF.
Exactly. And the simulation ready by default moves it from lab toy to pipeline tool. It's competitive not because it's first, but because it's wired for automation.
Let's hit the What's New This Week canon for 90 seconds. The trend line is clear. Real workflows over model theater. Fowl's Kandinsky 5 hit penny pricing for short video renders, which basically makes motion a cheap building block. Kriya dropped Real-Time 14B, edging live generative video into usable territory if you've got the GPUs. And in large model land, DeepSeek keeps undercutting costs, new variants halving API pricing again. So unit economics are racing down.
Which pressures everyone to productize with APIs and guardrails. That's also the theme across our recent posts: control layers, platformized agencies, synthetic audiences. We're seeing the industry snap from cool demo to how do we automate and govern this at scale. Seed3D fits right in.
All right, let's blueprint a real stack. Say you run a mid-market DTC brand. You've got a folder with 10,000 product shots. What do you wire?
My N8N brain is smiling. Step 1. Ingest watch an S3 bucket or you're damn. New image detected? Trigger a Seed3D API job with SKU metadata. Step 2. Validate, run a quick mesh health check. Watertight, no non-manifold edges, UV coverage above a threshold. Fails get routed to an artist queue in Slack or Linear.
Step 3. Package auto-convert to GLTF, GLB, or FBX, generate LODs, and bake PBR maps. While you're at it, crank out a turntable MP4 and a WebGL viewer embed. Also thumbnails that don't make your social grid cry.
Step 4. Distribute, push assets to your CMS and e-commerce platform, tag them with SEO and PDP metadata, and stash the raw files in your asset store. Step 5. Measure, track conversion delta for products with 3D viewers versus the control. If 3D lifts conversions, prioritize the rest of the catalog.
That's the play. And for gaming, it's similar. Ingest from your mood board repo, package into your Unreal or Unity build system, and sprint. For robotics, swap the distribution step, export to the simulator format you use, and register the asset with your scenario generator.
Open versus closed question. This is closed and hosted for now. If you need on-prem or must self-host for sensitive pipelines, you're waiting for a broader release, or you stick with open options like ShapE and accept the extra engineering. But for speed, hosted wins.
Speed until it doesn't. Let me push you, Hunter. Multi-view scans with Luma still beat single-image recon in fidelity, especially for reflective surfaces or weird occlusions. If your brand lives and dies on material accuracy, like metallic inks or complex translucency, Seed3D gets you close, but you'll still need artist touch-ups.
Totally fair. The article itself calls that out. Single-view reconstruction has blind spots, unseen sides, thin structures, reflective and translucent materials. Plus, deformables like cloth and hair? Human in the loop, period.
And please don't point this at people. Characters are a whole different rigging problem. Hard surface consumer goods are where this shines.
Who's this really for? I'd say solo creators get value for quick props and social loops, but the sweet spot is content ops teams and mid-sized studios that want to scale catalogs or prototype fast. For robotics teams, it's instant asset banks for synthetic worlds.
And you don't need to be an engineer to leverage it. Beginner-friendly if you stick to the hosted demo, advanced-friendly if you wire the API with your favorite glue tool. No GPU shopping required.
But costs. ByteDance hasn't published a price card next to the demo, but the guidance is to treat it like render or retouching line items per asset. The trade looks good, one photo in, a family of outputs out 3D, 2D, and video loops.
Time savings is the bigger win. If a catalog shoot is already sunk cost, each hero shot now multiplies. For a marketing team, you're talking hours shaved per saga, no more begging for a 360 spin from an external vendor.
Guardrails now. If you're converting user-generated photos, you need consent and IP checks baked in. Add policy gates so you don't accidentally 3Dify something you don't have a license for. This is where our control layer drumbeat matters. Policy as code, not vibes.
Yes, and add auto watermarks or provenance tagging to every output. Platforms are getting stricter about synthetic media labeling. Your DAM should store model, prompt hash, and versioning, receipts, or it didn't happen.
Competitive nerves check. If you're Luma, you're safe on multi-view fidelity and mobile capture UX. If you're a research stack like Dream Fusion, Seed3D leans into ops rather than novelty. The macro trend, API-first 3D becoming the norm. Teams that integrate early will run circles around scan-only shops.
If I had to meme this, it's the classic, finally, a mesh that doesn't leak. Or from JPEG to Jiggle-Proof. Too much?
Jiggle-Proof is pushing it, but watertight is the vibe. Let's do some where the rubber meets the road examples. E-commerce. You push 3D to PDPs and see a 3 to 5% lift in add to cart for complex products. Gaming. Props and environment blockouts in a day, not a week. Robotics. 10,000 plausible household objects diversified programmatically, massive simulation variety without modeling, purgatory.
And cross-format is where creators feast. Once you've got a mesh, you script the renders, turntables, fly-throughs, vertical cuts for TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Reels, add VO or music programmatically, and you've got a content multiplier. We just wrote about this content supply chain pattern on the blog. Platformize your process. Don't gate every step with a human bottleneck.
Quick reality check. If you need exact brand-critical finishes, set an artist review gate. Run the pipeline, then have a human-approved materials for hero placements. Reserve human polish for the few assets that matter most.
Facts. Also, budget for failures. Your validator should bounce any mesh that fails watertight checks or UV coverage. Don't silently ship broken assets because the API returned a file.
Let's connect the dots with the broader trend. We covered synthetic audiences this week. Simulate how creative performs before you burn ad dollars. Imagine pairing Seed3D with that auto-generate 3D hero scenes, then pre-screen which variants synthetic customers prefer, and ship only the winners to live campaigns. Volume beats perfection as long as governance keeps you safe.
And in the cost-pressure universe, DeepSeek slashing API pricing again. Services that remove steps will win. ByteDance positioning this as production pragmatic is the right lane. If they add rough pricing transparency and a simple webhook story, adoption will snowball.
Actionable next steps for teams. Pick 5 SKUs with strong organic interest. Run them through Seed3D via the demo or API. Wire a mini pipeline image watch folder to Seed3D to validator to packaging to CMS. Add a basic dashboard that tracks conversion or watch time deltas. If you see lift, scale the lane.
And for indies, try a prop from a single reference photo, render a turntable, and cut a 10-second vertical with a punchy caption. Test it against your static post. If it outperforms, congrats. You just added a 3D step to your content workflow without learning Blender overnight.
Final nitpicks? Deformables are still tricky, reflective materials need love, and hidden sides will bite. Keep humans in the loop, keep receipts, and don't overfit your pipeline to one vendor.
Also, because it's sourest day, don't get bitter if your first mesh looks weird from the back. Single view means some guesswork. Iterate, validate, and escalate to humans when it matters.
That's the show. Thanks for hanging with us on KoiCast. If you want the deeper dive, hit koi.com/resources for news, breakdowns, and playbooks, and subscribe so your feed gets smarter than your prompts.
Go celebrate sourest day with a watertight lemon. Or just ship some 3D. Bye.